Hello, this is Catherine from Fit Armadillo, the fitness company that lets you enjoy your fitness at your place and your pace. And I'm here today because it is Tighten and Tone Tuesday. This Tuesday, I have special guest Dr. William Turley with me to help us continue the March Madness series. So Dr. Turley, this March I've been exploring fitness myths that have been driving me mad, and I'm just trying to get to the bottom of some of the myths, share with my fans actual facts, and we've done a few other myths in previous weeks. The myth that I'm exploring this week, and the reason why I've asked Dr. Turley to join us, is the myth that running causes you to have knee injury and pain if you're a runner. And this is something that really aggravates me when I tell people that I'm a runner and they say, oh, why are you running? You're just going to ruin your knees. So I wanted to bring the good doctor here today to shine some light on the facts.
Great. Thank you for having me. Full disclosure before we get started, I am a medical doctor. I have been a distance runner for 45 years. I am not an orthopedic surgeon, orthopedist, or sports medicine physician. So the insight that I'm about to offer has some medical basis, but also more personal experience, and also information that I got along with my orthopedic colleagues and sports medicine colleagues. So the first question I think Catherine was asking was, does running cause knee injuries? Now there's two ways to answer that question. So the most obvious way is that osteoarthritis, which is wear and tear arthritis, is caused by wear and tear. Okay, and wear and tear would include activities like walking, would include people that work on roofs, are firemen, basically anything that you do that involves the knee. So all of these activities potentially can cause arthritis, including running. Running is an activity that puts stress on the knee. Now the question is that does running cause any more stress than other activities? And is it any better or worse for you than any other activities? I think I'd first answer that question by saying that if you look at the human body and you look at how we evolved evolutionarily, humans have evolved to be distance runners. Okay, we don't have hair on us. We've been structured to run. We weren't the fastest animals in the jungle, but we had the most endurance. So we basically wore the other animals out. The jaguar might have been faster, but we were going to beat him in the long run. So we're evolved to be distance runners. We also have evolved through the millions of years, 5 to 8 million years since we've left the ape family. We've also evolved on a time span that most old people were probably 40 years old when they died.
Sure.
So the knee wasn't meant to last 85, 90, 100 years. So we're all going to have, because of the way that the knee is built, okay, imperfectly, we're all going to have potential with our knee problems as we get to be older, 55 or 60. Now, does running cause more problems than other activities? And I would argue, this is where the argument comes, I would argue no. And if we look at different activities, certainly running is much better for your knee than football, basketball, injuries that cause torque problems with the knee. Okay, those are going to cause problems with your cartilage, with the ligaments in your knee, and if you know people that play basketball and even worse football, those people have serious problems early. In their 40s they have problems. Now, we all know runners that have problems with their knees when they're in their 50s, 55 as well.
Right.
So being humans, we blame what we've done, and we blame that on running. And certainly running plays a role, okay, because there's activities. But you have to ask yourself, what's the alternative? And the alternative is being fat, which is probably, I would argue, my orthopedic colleagues would argue, is the worst thing that you can be. Puts incredible strain on the knee joint, okay? So I guess the alternative would be to do no exercise at all, lay in a bed, okay, We could go in space and be in a situation of zero gravity. Okay, but then we would have osteoporosis to a significant extent, and when we got out of bed, our bones would crack, and we would be in much worse shape. So then we look at other activities that people would say swimming, and swimming is certainly much better for your joints, much less pressure. But recent studies have shown that, particularly they've looked at women that do swimming as their sole activity have much higher incidences of osteoporosis than women who don't do any activities at all.
Right,
so,
which is interesting to...
Right. So I think we have to pick our poison, and I would argue that running is probably the least harmful to your skeletal system, and probably one of the best for your bone system in terms of osteoporosis. Does it increase the incidence of joint disease, particularly knee problems? Perhaps. I think mainly the problem that you see is that, for me, for instance, I do have arthritis in my knee. Now I can run about 4 or 5 miles a day, 4 or 5 days a week, and I'm fine. Okay. If I just walk, I have no problems at all. I don't have any pain in my knee. I think what happens with people that are runners is that once you develop arthritis, which you're going to do, everybody's going to develop arthritis in their 50s, okay, to smaller or lesser extent. Once you start developing that and you stress the knee more, you're going to notice it more. So I don't think that the running necessarily causes the arthritis, but it's certainly going to make it, once you start getting significant arthritis, it's probably going to show up more. So, and then the follow-up question to that would be, is it bad to run when you're old? And again, I would argue that no, I think that's not true. I think running is one of the best activities that you can do. Certainly, if you haven't been running, I mean, the important things to do are, consult your cardiologist, your medical doctor, to make sure that you don't have any cardiovascular risk factors. Running is a great activity for your heart, one of the best. However, if you haven't run at all, it's probably not the best thing to just go out and run 10 miles the first day. That if you have some underlying heart disease, that could potentially actually be a problem. In terms of your joints, I think that I would, if you're older and you haven't run, and you don't have problems with your joints, that you should start slow. Okay. Again, if you're a healthy person, you do a lot of other activities. Now all of a sudden you're going to go out and run 10 miles. That's probably not the thing to do. You want to build up to it. You want to get your other muscles in shape so that they can cushion help cushion your knee. You start with a couple miles, and then if you're interested in running a marathon, then you build up to that point. So, those are my piece of advice.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're actually here in the Sydney airport. Dr. Turley's daughter got married in Australia, so he was kind enough to let me interview him here in the Sydney airport. So we've had a few interruptions due to announcements, but I think we're still going to make the flight, and appreciate you stopping by.
I'm glad you had me. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you again so much for stopping by for Tighten and Tone Tuesday. I hope this video was informative if you are interested in running and had some concerns about the impact it might have on your body. Please stay tuned for future March Madness videos where I'll explore other fitness myths and teach you the fitness truth. If you're interested in starting a running program, I'd love for you to join us in the Runaway from Winter Get 5K Fit program that starts March 31st. Thanks again, and see you next week.
搭乘天河联盟成员中国东方航空公司 MU728 前往南京、北京的旅客。
Looking for a great way to tone up for summer? The next 8-week online group fitness session at Fin Armadillo is starting up on Monday, March 31st, and I'd be honored to have you join us. During this session, we'll learn how to tone up and also work on our endurance so that by the end of the session, you're able to complete a 5K road race of your choosing. Enjoy support from your accountability group and me, your personal trainer. Hope to see you there.